good morning, good morning. So it is Sunday morning, and I was thinking, we've kind of gotten in the habit of doing these reaction to Umar Johnson videos, and he's been smart enough since Tariq nailed him to the wall earlier last week not to really come out and say a whole lot controversial, because he got the attention that he needed from starting that fight, that argument. Y'all knew he was saying that because he'd been trying to get Tariq to respond to him, because he knows that when Tariq responds to him, that sends people to his channel, sends people to his Instagram, sends people to his Twitter. It makes his name hot. And for some people, no news is bad news. And they say that any kind of attention they can get is okay. I challenge my 3-year-old often not to try to get that kind of attention, because you can get plenty of attention and it doesn't have to be that. But Umar, we're talking about a person who's still stuck in a juvenile state because of the trauma that he probably experienced as a child. And I can imagine, because we all have our own trauma, especially if we were raised by parents who experienced trauma as children. I'm paying attention to his demeanor and the way that he's behaving and the things that he's saying. And it does seem as though this whole Tariq thing was just to get attention. Because for him to be picking and say these things over and over and over again, and then finally get the bear to bite back and then to not say nothing, he got what he wanted. He got the attention he needed. Now, there's plenty of people making Umar Johnson videos for him to sit and watch all day in his house or hotel room. And because there's really nothing else he watches, I told you. So now in his mind, the world is talking about Umar. Now, I told you, if he doesn't get the right kind of attention, and this might have been in the part of the video that was cut off last week, so prayerfully this doesn't get cut off too. But I told you, if he doesn't get the right kind of attention, he's going to delete his social media, because he does that every single year, usually around January, February. And I've had people reach out to me, is he okay? That nigga is fine. I'm in communication with him the whole time. All the time. I think this will probably be the first year that we haven't been in communication, because, I'm speaking out against him now. So there's no reason for us to really talk. But yeah, he does it every year. He'll shut down his Twitter, he'll shut down his Instagram, he'll shut down his Facebook. And then, the whole world is talking. Where's Umar? Everybody's making videos. Everybody. Where's Umar? Is his account deleted? Did he get shut down? Blah, 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 blah. And the whole time he's fine. He's fine. He's watching and he's enjoying the attention of the world missing him. Okay. You have to remember that Umar is a son of Ogun. You'll hear him say that in just a few moments. And just a moment. And Ogun, sorry. Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome, baby. Can you sit down, please? Thank you. Ogun can be very dramatic, very rash. He told me this. Umar actually explained to me that as a child of Ogun, Ogun often acts without thinking, because he is the strongest warrior. He's a warrior. He's brawn, less brain. And so now, Ogun, you do have your place in brain. We're not going to diminish your capacity, but we have to speak honestly and say that Ogun runs around in the forest all day angry. For no real reason, because people don't respect him or love him the way he wants to be loved and respected. And you see that in Umar. Case in point, I do think that he rates as a child of Ogun, very rash, thirsty for attention, hungry for drama, in very self-serving ways. I have to get some water. In the same vein, I do believe that Umar Johnson is working to build a cult. Now, I hear people talk about a cult following that he seems to have, but that doesn't come by accident. As a matter of fact, I might just drink some coffee. And I've noticed certain things, over the years that have made him put out an energy that attracts people who are susceptible to cult control. So there's a couple videos, too, that I want to take a look at today. One is just a very quick, short piece of video. It might not even be a full minute long. The other one is a full video. I think it's about 6 minutes long. I watched some of it the other day, and I had some thoughts, and I thought I should share. Now, mind you, I feel like I should say this in these disclaimers. Of course, I'm coming from my own experience. I'm not coming from any particular expertise other than the expertise of my own experience. And when I talk specifically today, I'll mostly be talking from the expert of a church person. I'm a licensed minister. I've been licensed to preach since 1999. Fortunately, my license didn't have an expiration, so I still preach. But I was raised in a pastor's home. My father was a pastor. He became a minister in 1984 and worked in the Full Gospel Church Fellowship as an overseer of our city. And died as a pastor on a Sunday morning at 8:30. My mother is also a pastor. She is an ordained minister. She is also has been forming and conjuncting a seminary for many years. And I have a seminary education as well. But I've also grown up in the church, especially the Black church, and I understand the culture. I understand certain tactics and certain ways and certain sayings and certain things that keep people in control. We do realize, as enlightened people, that religion is designed to control us. So anytime you hear someone say or do things that are religious, that have a religious bent, or air about them, then you can probably guess that this person is heavy on trying to control people. So what I want to look at today, oh my God, that was a long introduction. I didn't even mean to give it. What I want to look at today is this particular behavior with Umar Johnson. Now, I don't have this comprehensive presentation for you because this is Sunday morning. I'm chilling. I'm not into it that seriously. But I want to just, as I always do, play this video, let you listen. I want to stop, and I want to talk about what was said because I want to relate what I hear, what we hear together with the church mafia, the religion, the tactics that are used to control people. And I want to compare it with spirituality. And let me just say real quick, in my definition, spirituality is more about the freedom of connecting with what serves you. So I want to discuss these different tactics, these different behaviors, these different things that are said, this attitude of control, because I literally believe, in my spirit, in my heart, in my mind, that Umar Johnson is trying to form a cult. Subconsciously or consciously, I believe that he's working to form a cult following. I think it's an active thing. You know, some people have people that follow us, and people tend to gravitate to us, but it's nothing that we necessarily do. We just have an attractive personality or spirit, or the work that we do, or what we provide, whatever. This person, I believe, is specifically crafting a cult, and doesn't have the kind of support naturally. So has to attract and create these mindsets that create the support that is desired. So anyway, that's 11 minutes of an introduction, and I appreciate you for hanging in there with it. So let's listen to something really quickly. Now, the video that we're going to listen to set the scene. It's after the Friday anti-protest, non-protest, protest, cleanup day, Patriots Day, block party, Founders Day, rally, shenanigans. And they're at a restaurant. You know, you've already seen in these first 18 minutes of video where Umar Johnson has harassed one of his supporters who decided not to eat with the group, was agitated and hungry, and he didn't know how to relate with her in a way that would keep the relationship that they may have already had. But we go into him leaving a space. He hears someone say a name he recognizes, and he decides to jump on the conversation and become the boss of it, as if no one knows what he knows or could possibly know more. So I'm going to play this, and then we'll talk about what we hear.
What you say, Trey? Obatilla. Obatilla is the king of the Orishas, the deities of Youre culture.
So you heard him say, and I'm going to pause this, not because, oh shit, I just changed videos. Not because it has any major significance to, hold on, sorry. My fingers move faster than they needed to. Obatilla, you heard him say Obatilla. Now, there was nothing wrong that I can see with what he said. He stated a Wikipedia fact. Obatilla is the king of the Orishas. He's the father of white. He is justice. He is peace. He's the son of Olodumare. Obatilla is very special, very important. So what he said up to that point was fine. It's what comes after that.
Obatilla. Obatilla is the king of the Orishas, the deities of Youre culture.
Now, here's what I want to mention. Tiffany was speaking to this gentleman about Obatilla. I'm going to say Barack Obama. They must have the same spirit of not doing nothing for black people and just talking loud. Umar Johnson walks out of a restaurant and hears them say Obatilla, and he says, Obatilla. Tiffany physically backs her body up to remove herself from the conversation. Now, she's probably well able to explain who Obatilla is on her own. As I said, Umar Johnson mentioned a Wikipedia fact. If you Google Obatilla right now, you'll probably hear something very similar to what Umar just said in that very short amount of time. She could have handled that. But she decided to allow his ego. She backed her body up and smiled and shut up and let Umar take over the conversation as if she couldn't have said that herself. All right, that's very important, because when a person has that kind of control over someone that they can subconsciously tell them, shut up and let me speak, even though you're going to say something that I'm going to say, and you're well able and capable to say it, and that person responds to that subconscious message and obeys, that's control. Let's keep going. So now Umar goes into the restaurant where everyone is sitting there eating. It looks as though people are waiting for food, and they're just kind of in their own space talking. This is a place he was not in before, because he just came out of a different restaurant and walks into this restaurant. So you'll hear Umar say, he walks in the room. People are sitting down talking. He walks in the room and says, see, you Obatilla can't have alcohol. What he's saying is, let me just explain that for those who aren't familiar. I'm gonna try not to go too deep into it. If you are initiated into Ifa as a son or daughter of Obatilla, a priestess or priest, a Babalawo or Iyafina of Obatilla, what tends to happen when you join yourself with a particular deity is their ways become your ways, or probably already were. You find similarities. I'm trying not to jump ahead of myself. When he says, you Obatilla can't have alcohol, it's commonly known that sons and daughters, priests and priestesses, Babalawos and Iafinas of Obatilla don't drink alcohol. They also don't argue. They don't get involved in quarrels. These are certain what are called taboos, okay? I want to talk about this because it bothered me that he said this, because this was a very religious statement. You Obatilla can't have alcohol, can't drink. I was having a conversation with my mother about Christianity, and I told her, Mama, maybe I'm not Christian in my heart. Because I like to drink, I like to fuck, I like to dance and pop my fingers. You know, I like to do everything you're not supposed to do as Christians. If you fuck with me, I'll kill you. If I need to, I'll steal. If I need to, I'll lie. I'll do what I got to do. So maybe I'm not naturally a Christian because I don't vibe with the tenets of Christianity. They cause me pain. They cause me anguish to try to live this lifestyle and turn the other cheek and all that bullshit. I don't get down like that. It doesn't work with me. So maybe my God is not the God of the Israelites. Maybe my God is not Jehovah. Maybe that's not the God I was created to serve because I don't want to. Naturally, it causes me pain. It causes me discomfort and suffering to live the lifestyle that is considered Christian. I explained to my mother, it can be that I attract to myself the God of my spirit, of my ways, of my heart, of my mind, of my knowing. And it just so happens that my spiritual mother and father, my God and my goddess, they don't have no problem with people drinking. Because they do. They love it. They love champagne. They love liquor. They love rum. They love whiskey. One of my gods is a smoker. He loves his cigars. You give him his 3 cigars and he'll be fine. My deities, we vibe. In many spiritual systems that have multiple deities like Ifa, Hinduism, those sort of things, there is divination that will tell you who your deity is. Can't nobody tell me who my mom and daddy is. And I appreciate the divination and the knowledge. I'm not rebuking it. What I'm saying is, in my spirit, I've become attracted to specific forces, specific personalities. Just like they say, your vibe attracts your tribe. So what I'm trying to say and correct Umar's religious control, because the spirit changed when he walked in the room. Obatilla can't have no alcohol. The children of Obatilla don't desire alcohol. So it's not like they can't have it. Yes, it's a taboo. Obatilla said, one night he was drinking. Now, mind you, one of his responsibilities is creating children. So when you conceive a child, it is obatilla that develops that baby in your belly and makes sure it has what it needs and forms it. And what I love about the deities of Ifa is they have fallacies, they make mistakes, and they tell you about them. They don't act like they're perfect. They don't act like they're perfect. Obatilla said, sometimes at night, if he drinks too much and you're conceiving a child, your child might have a deformity. And he takes responsibility for that. If there are children in the world that have any kind of deformity, as they would call it, a deformity or a malfunction or something when they're born, Obatilla takes responsibility for that. He says, I must have been drinking too much when you were making your baby, and I'm so, so sorry. Obatilla is also the God of justice. He's a God of peace. He is a keeper of humanity and harmony. So he likes to keep a sober mind. One of the taboos of children of Obatilla, as I mentioned before, is they do not argue. They like to be very sober-minded, very peaceful. And I appreciate that. But this isn't a situation where Obatilla or any other deity will tell you what you can and cannot do. Our deities in Ifa will say what might be best. My baby's upset with me right now. What might be best and what might not be best, what you should stay away from and what you should probably draw yourself to. But they're not going to say you can and you can't, because it doesn't work that way. They work for you. You do not work for them. While you worship them to give them the energy to do what you need them to do in the earth, as well as your ancestors. This is an organization and you are the leader. That's the understanding I've obtained. And that's what works for me. So for him to walk in a room and say, Obatilla, and just walk in a room while people are having a conversation, and it's almost as if he's talking to children. The spirit is all these older women who are older than him. Older women who look like poor women, undereducated women. None of them are there with their man. He walks in the room and he opens the door and says, and I'm looking right in front of him at this beautiful, flourishing green plant. And he just takes all the energy out of the room. Obatilla can't have no alcohol. Well, that's not the spirit of Obatilla. And that's not the spirit of Ifa. That's religious. That's churchy. That's somebody telling you what you can and cannot do. Instead of someone telling you, instead of you being able to confess what you get into and what you don't. I don't steal. I don't kill. I don't murder. I don't sleep with my neighbor's wife. I don't do this. I don't do that. It's just not part of who I am. Someone giving you commandments and saying, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. Oh my God, I do not like it. I don't like it. It has caused people to kill themselves because they don't line up with the religion, with the tenets, with the culture of the religion. And many people like me have just left. And see, Umar Johnson has a hard time with people thinking, feeling, or understanding that they can do and work without him. That's why he wants to tell people, ain't nobody doing this. That's why Umar Johnson wants people to believe that he's the only one doing what he's doing. No, you're not the only one scamming. You're not the only one lying to your people. You're not the only one hyping things up and building up a community of cult leader. You're not the only one doing what you're doing. It's a lot of scammers and hustlers out here. You ain't by yourself. You got a whole community. Even just inside the black community, you got a whole community of scammers and hustlers, Umar Johnson. You ain't by yourself. You're not the only one. And as far as things that you purport to do like this school, you definitely ain't the only one. We know of a Q Butter. We were introduced to the Trey Whitfield Academy. We know of KIP. We know of all kinds of schools where things are being done for black children. Not just black boys, black girls too. And their mamas and their daddies. You're not the only one. And you're not even one. Because you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. You're not accomplishing anything. And we know that. We see it clearly. But that's why you have to tell people you're the only one. Because you have to elevate yourself to a place of godhood that is false. People don't worship you out of full knowledge. They worship who you tell them you are. Those that worship me worship because they know who I am. We have a relationship. They know enough to know what I like. I don't have to tell them, get me a birthday present 4 months after my birthday. Because they either already did or they won't, and I'm good with that. I don't have to tell people what to think about me. I don't tell them I'm the best, I'm the mostest. I don't tell my daughter I'm the best mama. That's brainwashing. That's mind control. Ogun is a defender of women and children. Ogun will fight for you. But Umar, you're not a defender of women and children. Not even close. Not even close. Let's talk to your own women and your own children. And the fact that you've got a woman in your life right now who is scared to speak on camera because she went so hard trying to defend you that she made a fool of herself and a fool of you. You haven't built this woman, this Oba, to be good. She sacrificed herself for you, Ogun, and you cast her away. But she too dumb to realize that. We can all see it. We can all see it. But anyway, I want to touch on this second video. And I know this video is going to be pretty long. I'm going to try to edit out a lot of bullshit. I want to touch on this second video. It's only 4 minutes long. The video this particular video I'm going to link in the description below. It's called Dr. Umar Johnson. It's on the King Kong Consciousness channel, which is Umar Johnson's This particular video is on the King Kong Consciousness channel. It was made about 2 days ago, and it's called Dr. Umar Johnson, Pan-African 21-Day Fast and 10-Year Black Parent. We're going to focus on the 21-Day Fast part unless we need to focus on any of the rest. Okay, here go this long-ass vanity shot for what? I don't know. On both phones, looking like an idiot. He ain't even got no team to film him.
I am live. South Florida, I am here. South Florida, I am here. Florida, I am here. South Florida, I am here.
There's a couple things I want to mention, but I'm gonna pause for just a second because I want to make a note and I want you to remind me to talk about this on another video. I would like for you to go back and look at the videos that Umar Johnson made this summer and right around the death of Kobe Bryant and look at his look. And I want you to look at how he looks when he doesn't have a lot of speaking engagements and he doesn't have a lot of bookings versus how he looks when he got things to do and how he cleans himself up. I would just like to mention that. Let's talk about it later.
The sun is out. Leo season is every season. Leo season is every season, brothers and sisters.
No, it's not. Leo season is not every season. Thank God. I'm a Leo. Thank God for y'all. Leo season is not every season.
I first spoke in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 10 years ago today.
You can see the reflection of his shirt because this is important. Now, in the reflection of his shirt, the sun is casting down on him as he's filming. So whatever is in front of him is creating a shadow on his shirt. And you can see he's holding two phones at the same time. That is so symbolic of his ego. He's literally, not like me, filming one video and posting it in more than one place. He's live broadcasting from two platforms at the same time. He doesn't have anyone to do it for him. So he's using two phones at once. And it's so symbolic of his ego and his God complex and his desire to elevate himself above.
December 10th, 2010, United Nations Human Rights Day, brothers and sisters. And I'm back to get some more sun before I go back to the Philadelphia winter. I'm here to get some more sun before I go back to the Philadelphia winter, brothers and sisters. So it's going to be good today. The sun is with us. Okay, we start the Pan-African fast tomorrow morning at dawn. The Pan-African 21-day purge begins tomorrow at dawn. 30 minutes.
You heard him say, tomorrow we start a 21-day fast. Now, I've heard over the summer Umar stop mentioning these fasts and implying that people are just going to do them with him. Can we mention something? This ain't trying to be, nothing. I've counted 4 or 5, just this 21-day, 3 fasts Umar did this summer. He ain't dropped a pound. Three fasts he did this summer. He ain't dropped shit. I want to discuss this. And this might be as far as I need to go. I might not even need to watch any more of this video. Group fasting is very essential to building a community. Voluntary group fasting is even more powerful. Thank you. There's a word I was thinking of and I couldn't get it and I needed to just take a moment. Coerced fasting. Fasting is abusive. It's controlling, and it's necessary for creating a cult. I have been a part of several churches that call themselves movements that started often making us fast. And it wasn't up to us whether or not we fasted. We fasted. We agree. Then at some point, I heard somebody say in the parking lot, because, that's where the real conversations happen at church. My video got cut off because my mama called. Anyway, I'm going to continue because I think I'm supposed to. We were forced to fast. Many churches. I don't even need to mention the names, but New Birth, we fasted. There were fasts that went from Eddie Long down, and there were fasts that went from Terrell Murphy down, and then I started helping plant a church for new birth. And then there were fasts that went from that particular church, that small group, down. Those fasts bonded us, but the only thing we really took in during those fasts were the words of our leaders. We were conditioned. And then I think the last fast I participated on was one right before we went into what was supposed to be called this harvest season. Now, what I started to notice was right after a fast, there'd be some sort of a offering. Started to notice these things. I'm gifted to analyze data. Visual data, audio data, numerical data, all kinds of data, behavioral data. I'm gifted to analyze data. It's what I do. It's what I've done. It's been what I've brought to organizations. I have to think and understand what's happening inside the data. So behavioral data is data that becomes obtainable through observation of someone's behavior or interaction with it. I watched these fasts, and as I said, I was helping plant a church for this church, this last church I was at. I've been inside of ministry as long as I could breathe. I got baptized when I was 4. I accepted Jesus as my personal Savior at 4 years old. My father was a minister in the church at that time. So I've always been inside of the religious organizations. Every church I've been at, I've been able to somehow work inside to some capacity. So I've seen these things over and over and over and over and over and over again. And what this man has done, what this person has done in these "we are going to fast" is he's trying to create a cult. See, what happens when people fast together is their minds, their spirits, their hearts become one. That's not a bad thing. We could use some group fasting as a people. But it's got to be on the right shit. And if Umar Johnson is the only one ever calling these fasts, because you'll never hear one of the people who support him or his team say, "Oh, hey, Kobo Abba, we need to fast this week." It ain't gonna happen. He's the only one that's ever gonna call a fast. You don't see him drop a pound, though. He's the only one that's ever gonna call a fast because it's all about him. And he's working to create a mindset where it's all about him. I have sat at a table with 20 people and Umar Johnson, and unless the conversation is about him, he'll fall asleep. Unless the conversation is about him, unless the people are focused on him, he might raise a little conversation about such and such so they can talk about what he want to talk about. It might not be related to him. It might be basketball. I think that's a conversation I witnessed once. But as soon as somebody in that conversation proves they know more than him, I seen that nigga literally fall asleep at the table. I gave the concession that we were in a different time than he was used to. But this is a man that travels all over the world and stays up all night. I know that. So there's no reason he should have been sleeping. Because he didn't do shit. But what you're witnessing when you see these 21-day fasts, these 10-day fasts, this 5-day fast, and where has this conversation happened prior to this Instagram Live? Where? or this Facebook or whatever it is he's on, because he's on 2 phones at once, where has this conversation happened before this? Or did he just jump on and say tomorrow, blah, blah, blah? Or is he talking to a select group of people who he's already prepared to hear this message through a WhatsApp group? Because he's publicly saying to me and you who aren't plugged in. I don't follow him on any social media, but I know how to check it if I want to. Because I troll. I do. I did it for him. And anything I'm going to do for you, I could do to you. That's just how it works. But I don't follow him on social media. I'm not in any of his WhatsApp groups. My communication with Umar over the last couple years has been strictly directly to him. And as a matter of fact, he asked me, do I still support him? And I was like, I support anybody who's working for our people. He asked me why I stopped arguing with people online on his behalf. I was like, I just don't like the energy. It just don't do nothing for me. It doesn't benefit me. But what we're experiencing here is the making and creating of a cult following. In order for Umar to come on a platform and say, now tomorrow, as if he said it before. As if he said it before. And it's quite possible that these WhatsApp groups are forms of indoctrination, communication. I mean, it ain't just money. It ain't just money. He's probably sharing information, doing lives, sharing, posting and making videos that tell people what to think. He's forming a cult. These family dinners. How do all these people know to show up at a protest? These people didn't show up to an anti-protest just through Instagram posts and Facebook posts and Twitter posts. They knew where to go. As much as those people looked a mess when we saw them standing against that wall, they were in formation. They had been told something that wasn't on camera. For him to be able to walk into a room and the spirit of the room change the way that it did, it seemed to me as though this man has verbally abused these people and conditioned them to be communicated with in a certain way. And the same way that I see him communicate with these grown-ass people is the same way I've seen him communicate with children. And neither one has been comforting. Neither one makes me feel good as a mama or a woman or a human being. It's something that's way too familiar. And that's why people gravitate to Umar, because that abuse is familiar. And if you haven't been healed from it, it can be comforting, like your daddy, like your papa. Who can tell you when you can eat, when you can't eat? Who provides for you from birth? Your mama and your daddy. A combination or some form of those things. So when a person who has elevated themselves to the status of Big Papa, the most requested, what do you call himself? Umar Christ? Ifatunde Christ? And now this same person has begun telling people when to fast. That's religious. That's spiritual. Fasting is a spiritual practice. It's not political. It's not educational. It's spiritual. So what's really going on? That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I have to say about that. That's all I've been released to say about that. But this is disturbing. This isn't just money. This isn't just money. This man is literally working to develop a cult. Fortunately, he's got the poorest people on the planet he's developing it with, so it won't go very far. But it's still dangerous. It's still dangerous. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. I'm interested to hear the different perspectives. Even if you're currently a supporter of Umar, don't come in here with that. I'm just gonna say I welcome anybody who wants to talk in my comments. I appreciate it, but come in with some. If you got it, look. You know, I noticed in the last video that I made, I didn't have as many negative comments that sounded the same. Thanks, Umar. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for at least having enough respect for me to disagree with me respectfully. Instead of calling me a fat bitch. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. The sun is shining and everything is beautiful. So it's time for me to get up and get out and get into it. I'll see you in the comments.